to the Mouth of Manliness podcast, right?
Manliness.
Welcome to the
Manly mouth.
Ah, you did it. Well, welcome to the Mouth of Manliness. We've just set the timer. We've got an hour to talk about our brains. Yeah, I think I've done it. Yeah, I have. It's me, Nick Noyes, as ever, with my compadre, Bad Brad Action.
Why am I bad?
I just can't. I think it's still quite cool.
All right. Big up your bad selves.
And from our last podcast, we had Brad Humble from Grim Reaper.
Hey, Grum Reaper.
Grum Reaper. And he is with us again.
Hello.
And I'm pleased he come because he bought presents. Give us these wristbands. You won't be able to see them on the podcast, but Boston and the rest of the world, you can see them.
If you're watching in Boston, you can get some of Grum's stuff.
I highly recommend it because it is
And he's
sick as
catch
fuck.
good. You can get some of Grum's stuff. And look, there's my rings.
Oh yeah, I like them.
Double hard rings.
Freemason ring right there.
Yeah, it is,
You're not meant to admit that. Come on.
Yeah,
No. It's,
Doesn't exist.
I kind of quite like wearing that because people are often like, "Is that a Freemason's ring?" Like, you don't seem like a Freemason. I'm like, "Yeah, I am."
Yeah.
And they're going, "No, you're not." And I'm like, "No, I am. I love it. I'm fucking mad for it."
Yeah.
really bad at it.
And then I know the Freemason's handshake.
Yeah, I know one of them.
So I often go, "I'll show you the handshake if you like." And that's really not allowed.
No.
And basically, my grandpa, who I wear this ring in almost as a little kind of, a nod to my grandpa, who was one of the good men in my life. I wear it as a nod to him. And my dad, he went into the Masons because my grandpa went, and then my dad's a bit like he's fucking cynical. And he's like, that's bollocks, and left. He's not much of a joiner, my dad. I think that's why I'm not. And then he taught me the handshake. And now, any opportunity I get, I go, do you want to know the handshake?
That's so cool, isn't it?
And my grandpa knew it. You've broken your knuckle before, haven't you?
Yeah, you're trying to reach for something that's not
That's
there.
That's one of the things they do. They work out your
How do
illnesses.
most men lose their knuckle as well?
I've lost one.
Punching walls.
Hey,
I've got one.
That's not how I did mine, but I do know that. I do know that.
Mine's gone as well.
I thought it was a plaster wall.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, mine was a door.
And one thing I noticed in a lot of like domestic violence cases, men like for ages they'll punch walls and they'll go, look, this is what I can fucking do. Like, don't fuck with me because look, I can fucking hurt this wall and I don't give a fuck. Yeah, and then, but it is. It's like that kind of like that arrow across the bows to say like, yeah, watch it because like this is what I'll fucking do.
Yeah.
But more often than not, people just hurt their hands.
Yeah, they really do.
Mine happened in like when I was probably about 20, I think it was. I was just in like a fit of rage at myself. I punched a wall thinking it's plaster. No. But you only need to punch a wall once to know that you don't want to punch a wall, really, don't you?
Yeah, I learned that the hard way. Mine was over money, and I'm never going to punch a wall again.
It's really stupid because it really hurts and it fucks your knuckles up, but then your hands are fucked up potentially forever. Mine's gone back. Mine went back.
No, mine is like an arch.
It took about 15 years.
It goes up inside you, and then down the other side. It's like proper fucked. I worry about it breaking.
I thought I dislocated my finger. So I was like trying to put it back into place for like 20 minutes afterwards. Like, this is excruciating pain. Yeah, it was broken.
Yeah. But we learn the hard way, I guess.
I did mine when I've talked about it before, but I hit someone stupidly. I didn't hurt them. I then immediately apologised. Then looked at my hand. My hand's like massive. They're fine. I'm like, oh fuck, I'm gonna have to go home.
Yeah.
And then I was doing my GCSEs at the time, and then my mate's mum, who's a nurse, said, "Oh, you've broken your knuckle," and I went to hospital, and then they put plaster on me. Couldn't really do my exams very well, but I couldn't do very well anyway.
And
then I couldn't knock one out.
But surely using your other hand feels like someone else is doing it, right?
No,
because I tell people that at work.
Doing it with your other hand feels like someone else is doing it, but it doesn't feel like they're doing it right.
That's true.
Because you know how to do it with your best hand.
Yeah.
With your other hand, like, you're never going to do it very well, are you? So you might come across something that is like new.
I had a circumcision when I was 21, and that 6 weeks out. So the end of them 6 weeks, I turned into a fucking animal.
I can imagine. I split my banjo once.
Oh no!
Yeah.
That is much worse. That is much worse than
Splitting
anything.
banjo is pretty fucking horrendous. I remember splitting it and just blood gushing out of my cock. And then looking at it, pulling it up, looking at it and seeing that there's basically a pipe that goes under your cock, your banjo. And the banjo's split and I could see in it and blood just coming out of it.
Oh.
And then
Well, like he was coming blood.
it was kind of underneath it. It's not coming out of your main bit. But fucking hell, that was fucking agony. I couldn't even look at my cock for about 3 months. Couldn't even look at it. I went for a piss. I was like, you bastards.
I did once before. I think I was like 23 when it happened. But I was in the moment of climax and
Really
got caught
Sexy, a
at the
little bit.
wrong angle, and it sort of blocked the pipe. And as it blocked it, I was like, so it just like 28 mile per hour of jizz just hitting it, not coming out, clearly ruptured something, and then just this marbling of blood and jizz. That's the most horrifying thing in a fridge.
Wow.
Come out. I didn't freak out. I was like, that is the most metal fucking thing that's ever happened.
I was like,
metal.
come blood.
I think I stood up and I was like, I come blood. It's fucking ridiculous.
It's when your mum's like, keep the noise down up there.
Fuck off, mum. I'm so metal. I was born out of your ass. How metal I am. Come blood. I was born out of your ass. That's what me and my mate used to say. I was born out of my mum's ass.
Do you reckon women have these conversations?
Yes.
I
Straight
think
up.
they probably do have very similar.
So,
I
you
think
know,
it's stupid to think that they don't.
We presume women don't watch porn as well. It's like, they watch porn.
Yeah, there's a
They watch
massive
porn.
sort of thing
Horrifying.
around that, isn't there? Yeah. Yeah, it's just crazy to think, though. They're waiting for everyone to go out the house before they do
I
whatever
don't think
they're
they're
doing.
as interested in porn as men, but I think there is elements of it. And also, I think, some people are more into porn than others. Like, as men,
definitely.
you assume that all men love porn.
Yeah.
And sometimes
I'm
there
very
are-
particular with my favourite porn.
You are?
Yeah, I only like one type of porn, and that's it. Because I know that it can't be exploited. It's just like
That's
a
a really
girl-
good thing. There's like,
camera.
I watched a couple of
Word,
programs
dang.
recently, and some shocking stuff happens in it. And I think like, yeah, I'm a bit worried about it all. Like,
What are you mad about porn?
yeah, the porn industry. I think it like, I've probably watched too many documentaries about it all, but there's some shocking stuff goes on, obviously. But you kind of like don't really think about it too much. But I've been switched on to thinking about it, and now I'm a bit like, oh fucking
What
hell.
is it being exploited?
Yeah,
Well,
like
it is exploited.
oh no, totally it is. And there's again the argument of like people want to do it because they want to do it, and some people want to do it because they're earning money and everything else. But like, it's one thing I see, and like obviously they filmed it all, and then the guy was like, "Oh, we're gonna just keep going." So the guy kept going, and then the director was like, "Oh, right, I'm gonna have a go now." And then the cameraman was like, "Right, I'm gonna have a go now." And then this other random guy was like, "Right, I'm gonna have a go now." And I'm like, "What the fuck?"
Yeah.
Like, and that must just
All
like if you
of
think
these
about
men.
it, yeah,
It's just been like, well, look, it ain't going well. I think like, I better have a go.
yeah,
And then no one's going, well, he's had a go.
yeah.
And it's like, well, like this
I
person,
don't want to miss out.
Yeah, this
almost.
ain't a person anymore.
No,
This is just like, just a whole.
yeah.
And everyone else has had a go, so we'll have a go. And like the whole morality and the human being element of it just completely disappears.
Yeah. Worryingly, they're probably going, "Oh, like we'll give you more money for this."
We're doing you a favour, aren't we?
Yeah.
That's
You don't mind doing it. No, of course you don't mind.
No, I'm having a great time.
You know,
Get some skag.
they talk about the objectification of women in porn, right? Most porn doesn't really feature the dude. It's just his penis, right?
Yeah.
Whereas it's the whole of the woman. That's
Yeah.
what we're concentrating on. So it's like, is it?
Yeah, it just doesn't make sense. It's not
No,
real,
then
is
you
it?
also think about how much porn, like the blowjob, like normally, like I'm always whizzing past the blowjob because it goes on for ages, and that's true. You think
Even the
about
fact
it,
there's an actual
and,
order.
and the cum shot, like that's where those are big bits in the bit of porn, and it's like, and that is the objectification of women. Look, a woman makes that man feel better by sticking it in her mouth,
Yeah.
And then
and
consequently
then
makes us feel
goes in
better
her
to
face.
watch it.
But even
So it is.
and like they're all the same order. They start with one thing and they meet, and then like blowjob, doing this bit, and then standing that way, stand that way, turn over. Is there bum sex in it? Yes, there is. Right, they're obviously going to go to that, turns over, that ends, blah blah blah, finishes. Like that script of it is the same all the way through, which is
got right in on this fucking.
I know
podcast.
this is not right, is it? But like it's conditioning without people noticing, and it's difficult for people to talk about because all of a sudden I was just like, fucking hell, I'd never given that a second thought. It was the most normal thing for me to look at because in my mind, everyone else was fucking looking at it. And it's like, all of a sudden I was like, oh my God, I like to think of myself as someone who doesn't do things just because everyone else does it. But I had been.
You can't help yourself, though. And you can't, and in many ways, like, yes, porn is wrong. The objectification of women is wrong. Like,
unless they want to do it, though. That's the.
Well, yeah, there's that as well. So there is the idea that sex workers, you know, they might do it because they want to do it, and that's right as well. And I'm glad you say that. But
there should be rules and regulations for them, like protection for them if they want to do that.
Again, and like it's the well, we can't have that going on everywhere because you know the bulk of society are going to be uncomfortable with it. Because they don't actually like.
But
talking
that's what
about
pushes
sex.
it into the underground.
No.
Yeah,
and as
we
soon
can't
as
actually talk about sex. We all have it. We all have urges, but we can't actually fucking talk about it.
It's crazy, isn't it?
Like in a real way, because then society will go to seed.
Like, I'm uncomfortable with the first 10 minutes of this episode already.
Like the days of Sodom.
Yeah. But it is. It's like,
you can't talk about it.
No.
And that's the other thing. That's like why people don't talk about mental health. It's like, if you talk about it, you might become mental.
yeah. It's
Someone
crazy.
was saying to me the other day that, like, if you stop someone, like, if blokes aren't allowed to whistle at girls, and like go, "Woo, girls," this was a young guy I was talking to, then they'll turn gay. And I was like, are you
What?
fucking kidding me?
What, a real human said that?
Yeah, I think he was trying to wind me up, and I was like,
I've been.
if you honestly believe the thing is that fucking straightfortard.
I watched the video. I watched the video. I will try and find it and I'll share it online. But this woman basically stands in front of the camera. She went, I've got a vest top on, leather jacket, and some jeans. And the guy walks ahead of her 10 foot or 15 foot and films her. I don't know how many times, but you will hate all men just from watching this video.
Just blokes keep going over.
Bloke going, oh, hello, love, what you're doing, whistling and stuff like that, which is normal. But one guy followed her for like, I don't know the size of American blocks, but like 12 blocks or something like that, standing next to her. And she was really funny, like really cutting. Like, I can't remember some of the witty answers. I'm not as funny as her, but she was like,
because she knew why she was doing it.
Yeah,
if that
cool.
had been real, she'd probably been a fright.
But what was scary was just in this one journey, it was, maybe they filmed it across a day or 2 days or whatever, but just in that 30-second or 1 minute clip, the amount of blokes who were literally just reduced. She weren't even like massively like dressed seductively or anything like that. She was just, I don't know, I couldn't really see it that clearly. She was just dressed as like a normal lady, and then it's just sickening. They're just like fucking animals, and like the lengths they would go to like talk to her or be near her or whatever. Which again, I'm not putting it down because we all have to meet people, and that one bloke might have thought that's the girl for me. She's the most beautiful thing in the world. But when you see it in that context, in that little sort of bite of a 30-second, minute, whatever, it's scary as fuck. Like, and obviously not all women, but to be a woman and have to walk back home of a night time of an evening,
all the time.
yeah, totally,
Like,
and then go to
work,
work and then get the same thing.
At work, it's like there's always a bloke sniffing around you.
Yeah.
There's always someone who's just being a bit over the top,
Like leering.
Yeah,
a bit leery.
Yeah,
and
overbearing.
and it's almost like yeah, they can't help themselves. They're a man.
So it's
And
up
like,
to
no
us
bollocks,
to
you
punch
can.
them in the eye.
Yeah.
It's like, fuck off, mate.
But I think it's like what
But
we
they
said.
don't feel empowered to do it.
No.
And that's the problem. So you get a lot of men. I listen to Radio 4 or talk radio because sometimes music makes my tinnitus bad. So I listen to talk radio, and there was something about like they were in a phone in about equality. And there's so many blokes going, well, we have equality, don't we? Women can do the same as us. And it's like,
So ask a woman that.
yeah. Exactly. Can they do the same as you? Can they like just go down, go to a pub and not have someone serve them first? All right, that's nice. But then if someone then expects something back all the time, we can't possibly, as men, put ourselves in that position and understand.
No.
So we have to go from a position of like empathy and caring.
I don't know, you could dress skimpily and go to a gay bar.
Up into loads of gay bars.
Yeah,
Did
me
you get
too.
groped?
No.
I got
No.
groped at a gay bar.
Oh,
I wasn't, but the weird thing, I wasn't bothered by it. But it's because I'm not subjected to it every fucking day.
Yeah.
Well, that's the difference.
Yeah.
I've been to quite a lot of gay bars and that. My mate Wayne used to do DJ GAY and Pop Stars, which was another really big one. And we used to go there just basically because it was a fucking really good night out.
Yeah.
And
because it's not filled with you bloke fucking.
exactly,
I'm gonna
it's
fucking
not
nick
full up
someone,
testosterone.
fucking-
Yeah.
And everyone's like, "Oh, where'd you go to the toilet?" I'm like, "I just go to the toilet." And like, if someone like propositions me, like I find that a massive compliment. I'm like, "Oh, cheers, man."
Yeah.
I'm not gonna have hold of you because I'm not gay, but I'm not upset by it.
No.
Because that's a massive compliment.
Yeah, totally.
Like, that's cool with me. But most people, or a lot of people, will be like, "Oh, I'm gonna fucking hit them. I'm not gonna go in there. They'll bum me." And it's like, no one's gonna bum you.
No.
No one's gonna bum you.
I remember
they're not you.
Yeah.
You know, they're not you, and I'm not a woman.
Yeah.
You know, like you're judging it by your own standards.
Mm.
Like, not everyone's a fucking cunt.
No.
And it's just that kind of thought that I think so many people think.
I was
everyone's a cunt,
curious
aren't
when I was younger, and I experimented, and I was just like, not into this. And still to this day, every now and then I'm like, that dude's alright. Like,
Yeah. Me too. Like, and I think,
like Ryan Reynolds in Blade Trinity. Whew.
yeah, totally. And like the amount of time I do say stuff like that at work, and like some people, like close mates, like, yeah, I get what you mean, but like some of the looks I get. But then it's just appreciating beauty in nature that's been created.
I always feel that's an inability to deal with their own emotions or
Yeah.
sexual desires.
Yeah, totally. But sometimes when I spot that, it does make me want to like do it a little bit more.
I do it.
I was going to say, it makes me want to bum them.
Yeah,
Just to prove something.
I can become very mincy. If there's a really manly man, and I'm like, give us a hug. Come on.
Yeah, I
Come on,
love
give us
it.
a hug. Do you want to go in the box?
Yeah.
And like, they're like, oh, no, I don't like it. And
Yeah.
I'm like, it's all right.
My father-in-law is obviously like quite old school in that, and like, I'm aware that he doesn't like being cuddled. So like the second any opportunity of like us going, I'm literally grabbing it. He goes wooden like that, stiff. I go, see you later, mate. I give him a massive kiss and a cuddle. I love it.
Because
So
I'm
good.
always a hugger. Like, you going for the handshake, I'll grab that shit.
Yeah,
I'll bring
yeah,
you in for a
totally.
bro hug.
Yeah.
I was like, yeah.
Yeah, I'm a hugger.
Doug Stanhope has this joke where he's talking about he pretends to be gay just in normal situations. So if there's like a kid behind him who's like, say he's in a queue for a plane or something like that, he'll just say, "Oh yeah, I'm gay." So the kid behind him can just understand that it's okay to be that, and you don't
That's
have to
amazing.
be a certain stereotype or
Oh
anything.
my God, that's like a superpower. And you could like really start to educate people.
I often find myself going, no, look, it's all right. Some men like each other. It's all right.
Yeah.
It's like,
That's so cool.
it's fine.
Oh, Stanhope's a
What does it
fucking
matter?
genius.
I've
Yeah, I'll
never
have to
really
look him
gone
up.
to Doug Stanhope. I have tried. He don't really come across like that kind of joking though, does he? Like, it's just a bit brash American for me.
Yeah, no, I need to. I haven't ventured in,
I like,
so I'll have a look.
He's one of my favourite comedians.
Yeah.
Probably my favourite comedian, yeah.
Really?
The gay fantasy football joke. It's a 10-minute joke, and it, no matter how many times I watch it, I cry from laughter. It's so fucking funny.
something gets you like that though. It's so good.
He's also got another. he's got another joke in the same set where he's talking about helping his mum commit suicide because she had like emphysema, like fluid on the lungs, and again, just funny as fuck. It's like, how did you make it funny? But you can tell he's just telling an actual story.
Yeah,
It's just like, this is fucking funny.
I've got
No, I love
admiration
that,
for people who can do
The
that.
truth is though, in a lot of, I find like I talk about the things that about myself that I don't like or I'm uncomfortable with. I find it much easier just to fucking say it, make a joke out of it. You know, like I talk about my arse all the time, or I talk about splitting my banjo. You know, like it's easier just to go blah, and then it's done.
Because you realise people don't really judge you for it.
Yeah, but not as I said in the last episode, 9 times out of 10 people do not fucking care.
No,
They care about themselves. They don't care about you, or they care about their immediate family. Everything else is a fucking nothing.
and what I'm learning
If you
now.
go into life with that idea, like for starters, in life you can't control anything but what you think and what you do. That's a stoic thing.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
that's straight up.
And I think that is an incredibly empowering thing. And then secondly, most of the time, anyone that you're bothered about doesn't give a fuck about you. And if you go into life knowing that, life's a lot easier.
Oh,
Yeah.
it's so much easier.
It's
So
like they
much
don't
easier.
fucking care. Like you think, oh, these people are really bothered, or they're trying to get at you, or anything like that. And the reality of it is, they couldn't fucking give a fuck because everyone is fighting their own battle in some way, shape, or form. That once you kind of that gets into your head, you're like, oh, I just need to worry about what I think about now and then.
Yeah.
It does simplify things down nicely. That's what Darren Brown book really taught me.
Yeah, man.
Is that, and it doesn't work for me all the time. Like I have days like this past
It's
few
hard
weeks
to make
I've
things
struggled.
work 100% of the time.
Yeah, exactly. Nothing does. But what happens, I find, I stop doing the work, and then I get ill again, and then I'm like suicide. And then then I go, oh fuck, I keep thinking about suicide again. Oh shit, right, oh why's that? I've stopped doing everything that I'm meant to do. You know, like you were saying, like you go, oh fuck, I stopped doing it. I forgot.
So I've
no
eaten
one gives a
takeaway in
fuck. I
3 days
forgot.
in a row. No wonder I feel like shite.
It's like daily habits of like just
Yeah.
keeping. But is that because other stuff takes over?
It's because habits are hard to form. It takes 60 days to form a habit.
Wow,
On
really?
repeat every single day.
No, but I even find I will form a habit, but those habits are still relatively short-formed habits compared to 40 years worth of habit.
Programming.
40 years worth of programming. So, like, I've been ill since I was a kid. So, all of that I've got all of that weight to contend with. So, a new habit, I might have formed and done that in 6 weeks. Like, I fucking do 6 weeks like that. But then, I'm like 10 weeks in, the old habit comes back.
Is it an old habit coming back or is it self-sabotage?
It's self-sabotage. Yeah. But that is the habit.
Because it can be a little bit fun. I hate to say that.
It's so true, though. It is. You're completely right.
Because when you go into those dark modes of thinking, you're staring at
It's
things.
seductive.
It's a kind of romanticism about
Yeah.
it, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
It's incredibly romantic. I'm glad you say that because I completely agree. And then you go, oh, this is all right. Oh, this is comfortable.
Then you start writing
I'm
like
used to
really
this.
depressing songs or
Yeah, you
poetry.
start doing some bits on the guitar and you get into doing that kind of thing. And then you read books that confirm it all. and then you spend a bit of time confirming it all to yourself. And then you're like, oh, all I can think about now is killing people and killing myself. And I'm like, oh, fuck. Oh, I've gone back. I'm back to where I was now. I did that. I tell you what, I've done that last 4 weeks. And it was just today. I've been off of work because I felt ill, but also because I don't feel I've been very mentally well. But my wife came home and I was like, what do you want to watch? She went, oh, don't put the telly on for a bit. I was like, I just want to, normally when I get home, because I'm not normally here, she's like, normally I just like sit in quiet for a bit and like just try and download. And I'm like, how the fuck do you do that? Like, I've never done that in my life. And then I just found myself
Always
saying,
trying to distract yourself, sort of thing.
rather than distracting yourself, just sit in it for a bit. And like she finds that quite peaceful, and I struggle to do that. But then I found myself, we were sitting in it for a bit, and then I found myself just going, I'm not very well at the moment. And she was like, yeah, I know. And I'm like, oh, bollocks. Oh, I'm not doing any of that stuff that makes me better, am I? And it really was. It was like, I need to make some changes again. And I was like, oh, I'm actually kind of a bit bored with, like, in the evenings I'm bored. And I need to start doing things a bit more. She was like, yeah, let's do this and let's do that. And I started talking about it and I was like, oh, fuck. I've been doing that for 4 weeks. 4 weeks I've been thinking, right, I'm going to fucking do it. I'm going to fucking do it. There's a beam in the garage, I'll hang myself. And I'm like, I can't.
Oh,
do it.
I thought you were saying about another task.
No.
Slipping the coil.
But you know what? My brain just went, and the thing is, like, that is so alluring. Plus, it is what my body and brain sees as comfortable.
But you can't commit suicide now though, because you've already beaten it. You've already beaten that particular demon that faces you. So every time it comes up,
I haven't. Though.
you still turn around and be like, nah.
No. And the thing is, when I'm feeling, even if I'm feeling a bit shit, I do that. But it's when it all starts. It will take the smallest of things, like something at work or something will trigger me, and all that trigger, all the trigger is like an offence on my confidence and my self-worth.
So you feel like it's a slant against you?
Yeah, almost, but it'll be very small, and then my brain will go, you fucking cunt, I told you that. I fucking told you that. I've been telling you for years you should be dead. Why aren't you dead? You should be fucking dead. And I'm like, but what about my kids? And
But
like,
even that
"You're that
differentiation
better."
and you explaining that, you're saying that that's a separate part of you.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
you'll never take that on board. Even when it starts getting to that point, you've already separated it from yourself.
No. This is where it gets difficult. I've only just separated from myself.
Okay.
So it might take me a few weeks to actually talk about it. So this is why this is good, because now I talk about it, and now I feel like I'm on top of it. So it will take me a little while, because it seeps in very gradually, and then it'll be like 3-4 weeks down the line, and then I'm like, that's all I can hear. So then it's like, but then when I actually then verbalise it, like I did to my wife today, I'm like, and suddenly it's like
Weight off your shoulders.
suddenly like straight off, and I'm like, I've got this.
An olive branch to the light side, right? Yeah.
It's like, no, I've got this. This is fun.
Well,
I've
the
dealt
last-
with this fucking all my life. I can deal with it now.
I probably have like suicidal ideation probably a couple of times every 3 months or so, but it'll be like a culmination of a few days, and then I'll just sit down and have a meditation. Like the last time it really fucked me up was October last year. I just got out of like an 8-year relationship, but the reason the relationship ended was because I was told to man up, and it was just like no.
Wow.
Yeah, you don't fucking understand me.
That was the culmination of shit that was going down.
But she just got frustrated, clearly, because it's fucking frustrating being with someone like us.
Yeah.
Like, I'm always apologising to my wife. I'm so sorry you have to go through me. It's just like, well, I don't want anyone else. I'm like, thank fuck for that.
You know, I was told like, you don't deserve me. You're not good enough. You need to man up. You're a piece of shit. So it's just like.
But that probably wasn't about you. That was about her.
Yeah. I know that
and
now.
her insecurities.
Yeah.
And like, that's the thing. But you don't see it.
I've studied quite a bit about it since.
Yeah, you have to know.
Yeah.
You do. You have to do the work.
It was after that it was like 5 days of just constant. My brain was like, you should just fucking kill yourself. Go and drive your car off a fucking bridge. My car wasn't even fucking working. Just drive it in front of a fucking lorry. But on the 5th day, was the first time I ever meditated. And my friends, I've got a friend who just constantly is like, oh, you should meditate. And I didn't want to do it because I wasn't very spiritual.
Yeah.
Then I looked at a scientific report on it, and it was like, no, it works. And as soon as I saw that there was science behind it, I was like, sweet. So I should actually try it. I sat down in Brighton Park for about an hour, just listening to a guided meditation video on YouTube. And I came out of that like a changed person. I was floating around on cloud 9. I was just like, wow.
You do have to keep doing it though, don't
Yeah,
you?
you know, I kept doing it every day for 3 months.
Again,
And
it's
it's
changing them
guided
daily
meditation.
habits, and
Yeah,
it's just
yeah.
replacing
I
like
did it.
20 minutes that
I
you
did-
might.
I did a course in transcendental meditation, and I agree with what they say. It's the quickest way to get into a meditative state. It costs you 500 quid that, and that you're sworn to secrecy and things. And
Did you have to sign an NDA?
yeah.
Oh, for fuck's sake. I was like, can he tell
you
us
do,
here?
you do.
Can he tell us?
No, but
Can we just start
essentially-
guessing?
No, I'll tell you what it's about. Basically, they give you a mantra. You have a ceremony. It's quite, and what's cool is the ceremony feels special. So you have this ceremony. They whisper in your ear your mantra, and then you sit down and do it, and then you say it over and over. And essentially, after quite quickly, you get into quite a good meditative state. On the day you do, because you've just been through the ceremony, you go away and you're like all up for it, so you kind of do. And then after a while, if you're anything like me, you're like, fucking hell, I've got to do this 15 minutes. I can't sit still for 5. I'm like, I cannot close my brain off. And the problem is, for me, if I try and sit quietly, my brain goes, oh, you fucking cunt. How dare you? I'm going to attack you for 15 minutes now just to show you. Whereas I got to a point where I did it like twice a day. 20 minutes twice a day is what you're meant to do. 20 minutes twice a day for about 3 months. And in the end, I was so distressed. Every 20 minutes, I found so stressful. I was like, this can't be worth me.
Wow.
This just ain't working for me. And that's where, that's why I like hypnotherapy, because hypnotherapy gets you into that state and you don't actually have to do anything. And someone else takes you there. I found it much easier to get close to there. But what I do remember, which was pretty special about the transcendental meditation, was in the early parts of it, it was like taking acid. Like I could hear everything. I felt as though I was on a ship. Like it just felt as though I was just bobbing at sea. And that was very, very odd. And
the studies into psychedelics have shown that taking psychedelics is akin to meditation. Like it normally you'd walk down a certain pathway, but when you meditate it leads you down a different path, and that just opens up your mind to just being rewired.
Yeah.
It just over a longer period of time that reprograms the brain.
Yeah, I found Ram Dass a while back, and he basically found it through psychedelics initially, but then set out for his whole life to find people and find ways of achieving those heights without the psychedelics. He literally obviously went to like India, and you can basically achieve it by standing on one leg and holding your hand in the air for like 20 days in a row or something like that. It's the way the body days, I don't know numbers.
I tell you what it did, like early on when I saw my therapist Peter, who's been on previously, the first time he did hypnotherapy with me, he got me to like hold my hands up until they started to fucking ache, and then he went, right, sit down.
Wow,
and
that's probably part of it.
And just because my body had been stressed, I then went into a position where my body wasn't stressed. I just melted into the chair. And that's the most profound experience I've ever had. Like,
I'm going to be trying that when I go home.
And it totally worked. And he'd done other times when he's like, right, I want you to imagine you're pushing against something. And I'm pushing against his hands, and he's pushing back as hard as he can. And then that action of pushing, that outlay of energy, and then I sit down, it's like your body just goes, ah. And like just that,
pretty powerful.
You can see how that would work, can't you?
Yeah, on a simple base, on a scientific level, like blood flow and pressure and releasing stress and everything.
Like, I think
this is the first time I've heard of anything about hypnotherapy. So it's quite interesting.
If you ever get to a point when you're really, really fucking struggling again, go and see our mate Peter. He's a fucking
we had him on last couple of episodes, and it's magic.
Basically, you know, like in Darren Brown's book, like that book, it doesn't all hit you. You know, there's bits and bobs that hit you.
He says that though, isn't it? Like you pick and choose.
There'll be bits that will resonate, and then Peter just like when I've had therapy with him, like with an hour. Did you just blow?
No, it was the chair. It's his chair. You always think it's me. It's not his chair.
But basically, all he does is throw like things at you that resonate with you all the time, and it really fucking works.
But it's with everything. It's like little nuggets that you can kind of take away. Like I can't remember that whole Ram Dass book, but I can remember little bits and bobs of it. I've started reading the Darren Brown book. I started reading it on holiday, and I can remember little bits, and you kind of take away little tools.
It's like the bits that hit you the hardest, isn't it?
Yeah, but then it's nice when you go back and read that book again. You're like, oh, I remember that bit, but now I remember all these other bits.
I wreck my books with highlighters. There's only one book I've not done. It's because it's from 1926, and that was the first book, The Mind in the Making by James Harvinson.
1926.
Wow.
So this book, I was in this little antique bookshop in Hastings, and I was just looking through the shelves. Nothing was striking my eyes. And then I just saw it, The Mind in the Making. I was like, that might teach me how how I came to think like this. Opened it up, and it had that Stoic proverb: "Man is more tormented by his opinion of things than things themselves." And I was like, right, I'm buying this.
That's totally true.
Amazing.
Like, I know that sums it up.
Because as soon as I read that, I was like, every belief system I have that causes me negative reactions is just because I believe it to be true. It's my opinion.
Yeah.
And I can change my opinion because I've changed my opinion about so many different things. So I just tucked into this book, and honestly, it is profound. Like, it's talking about problems with Russia. It's talking about how the telephone ordering system was going to destroy the high street.
Oh my God.
It's talking about the youth. And it's just like, this could have been written yesterday.
Yeah.
And it would still be prevalent. Like,
that's crazy.
The fact that societal things hadn't changed in 100 years. I was like, well, society's just the way it is. So I just had to come to accept it.
Yeah.
And that is quite a profound thing in itself. But I think like can you knock the door, Brad? I'm really hot.
Yeah.
I think like the first statement you said there is the statement that resonates with me that I tell myself every day.
Yeah, because Darren Brown has it in his book.
Yeah.
Basically, the Darren Brown book is a modernisation with our psychological understanding of the book.
That's so cool.
And it is. It's
Like that.
All your problems come from the way you think about them.
Like, do they still exist if you're just inside a little empty box or whatever? They still exist because they're within you. But then outside, everyone's just walking past the box, just getting on with their day.
The locus of control. You know about that?
No.
So you've got the external locus of control, which is basically believing how the world projects itself onto you.
Yeah.
Or you can hold what you believe to be true about yourself, and then project that out onto the world.
Amazing.
I summarised this I said this the other day. You can be someone the world happens to, or you can be someone that happens to the world.
Yeah.
And I was like, that's a pretty good way of
I
summarising
used to
it.
do that with when I used to work at probation. I used to do locus of control, like with them, because they'd always be saying, "Well, I did it because that cunt did that." Like, so everyone would do that, wouldn't they? You'd do that, wouldn't you? And I'm like, well, no, I wouldn't.
Yeah.
No, well, of course you would, because they called you a cunt, so you caved his fucking head in. And I'm like, no, I wouldn't do that. So what you're actually saying is that everyone else is in charge of you. And they go, no.
The way I came to understand it in that particular paradigm is if somebody is trying to go out of their way to hurt you or offend you or cause you insult, they're an asshole.
Yeah.
So why the fuck would you pay any attention to their opinion?
Exactly.
Just like
exactly what I used
Such
to
a
say.
beautiful, simple
And I
notion.
go, what,
isn't
you're
it?
going to spend your life going around just like sorting out arseholes, because there'll be a fucking massive queue that'll last your whole life.
Yeah.
And the Ricky Gervais thing where he says the best way to get back at an arsehole is to be happy.
Yeah.
So I don't have that, I'll just be happy.
Yeah.
And it's so true.
is that from the recent series he did?
I don't know.
I forgot what it's called.
I don't know. He has loads of good little nuggets.
Yeah.
he
It's
does,
got loads
yeah.
of tools.
I remember,
I always get the vibe that he's been through some shit as well. Like, there's a lot of these people with wisdom.
Yeah. I don't know.
He used to manage serious problems.
That's right, yeah.
And I spent some time with him, and he was just the same. He was just looking for people to make him laugh, really. And we were too busy trying to make him laugh.
Yeah, he's got an amazing laugh as well.
Yeah,
right?
he
When he
does have a
goes.
fucking amazing laugh.
He weren't famous then.
Nah.
It's infectious though, isn't it? When somebody proper starts laughing out loud,
Yeah.
then everyone just starts proper laughing their goddamn heads off.
But you know, like the stuff he does about religion, I think really what he's talking is not really talking about religion. He's talking about how stupid we can all be.
Yeah, and our take on things and everything else. I think
how we're like we get stuck in things, and we're like, well, that's fact then, and it's like, no, it's not. Like, very little is really.
it bugs me when
thoughts and feelings come into it. There is no such thing as fact.
nah, when people like take him so literal and to like they think like he's preaching and he's saying this and saying that, and you think, now if you just take a step back and look at the reason why he's saying it and how he's saying it, what he said before and what he said afterwards, and then listen and learn from him, the guy's a genius.
Satire has been lost on a lot of people.
Oh
these
yeah,
days.
totally, it
People
really
take
has.
things so literally.
Yeah, that's what you got to follow him on Twitter
It's
and just
funny
sit
though,
back and watch.
when I was
It's so
younger-
good.
When I was younger, like kind of in the mid-80s, I used to be allowed to stay up late on Fridays, and I would watch comedy on Fridays, and I really loved like anything that was Young Ones kind of related on that
Yeah,
school. I
bottom.
really loved,
I used to watch
like
that.
Blackadder and that. But a lot of that was kind of on when I was a bit younger. By the time I was older, it was like, have I got news for you, which I hated, which I quite like now.
Yeah.
And whose line is it anyway? And that was all. They were saying like, this is satire, and it just bored me. I thought, wow, this is politics. And it's only as you get older you start thinking, no, it's not really.
They're taking a piss out of politics. Like,
Yeah.
They're taking the piss out of humans being idiots.
Yeah. And there's a level of intelligence to be able to take something that seems to be so black and white and taking the piss out of something, to be able to come out of it, look at it, see it for what it is,
Yeah.
and then be clever enough to go, well, this is funny because that's fucked, and then this and have that level of thinking. It's just genius. I love watching people do that.
Did you watch
so good.
It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia?
Do you know
Yeah, I
what?
love
I
that.
haven't yet. I'm
That's
waiting
not
to watch it
my
on. That's on
I've
Netflix,
watched
isn't it?
That
Well,
is so
I've watched
Yeah, I
them all
cannot wait
twice.
to watch it. I really want to watch it.
I've watched all of them twice.
Like the opening episode, they deal with racism and homophobia in the same episode.
They get stuck
That's
into
their
everything.
first episode. It's just like, well, this is going to be good.
Wow.
Yeah,
And
it's
they
really
take
good.
it to ridiculous extremes.
Yeah.
Everything is to a ridiculous extreme. I can't recommend it enough. It's only in Philadelphia. It's fucking
I don't know
brilliant.
how many times I've watched it.
That's
Yeah.
my next binge. I
And they
think.
just go. It gets really stupid. Like when Danny DeVito comes in, it gets markedly better.
I've got a cardboard cutout of Danny DeVito in my room.
Have you?
Yeah,
That's so
it's
cool.
so brilliant, it, Frank. And it gets, basically it gets really ridiculous. But they're always like they deal, but they're dealing with something really serious. But they're taking the piss out of us.
Yeah.
At the same time.
Because you're not supposed to like them.
No.
If you identify with them, it's
But
kind
you
of
end
like...
up really liking them because they're a bit of them is a bit of you.
There is
Yeah.
an episode when Dennis comes in and he's like, oh, I got myself a diagnosis of borderline personality disorder. I was like, hey, you represent, brother. And I was like, actually, hold on. Dennis is a lunatic.
Yeah.
Fuck. I'm not that bad. Jesus.
But like Dennis is like the piss take character. He's the one who's meant to have it all together, but actually he's so like narcissistic.
It's been getting
that he
worse
can't
and worse
see.
as time's gone on.
It's fucking brilliant. It's really, really good. I never really watched it in that way, but I think like most of the best things you watch are character driven.
Yeah.
And like with that, like the characters are really fucking solid, and they're all lunatics. I got a message from Lee Yates saying,
I love you, Lee. Yes.
"Thank you for the podcast. I really like it." Just now, I'll read it out to you. All right, mate. Loving the mouth of manliness. I listened to it on the train to the studio. You're smashing it, man. Great work. Thank you, Lee.
Oh, that's amazing,
Thank
Lee.
you.
Thank you.
I've always had a soft
I
spot
got
for Lee
A special
Yates.
thanks to Lee
Known
as
him
well,
for a
because
long time.
years ago when I was going through my depression and shit, he had my back. Like, people were really, like, trying to rip me to shreds. Just because people just treated you like shit if you was depressed. And
Can't deal with it. That's why I never talked about it.
And he was a fucking legend. Honestly, I can't fucking thank him enough, to be
I
honest.
think
with you,
Lee's
so.
had a few of his own demons, and I think he'd probably agree with that. And that is why he's much more open to that kind of thing.
He's a fucking dude.
Yeah, I when I first started Honey Lust with Jim Quinn and Dean Garwood, fucking when I was like 21, 20. And yeah, Lee was like best mates with Dean because they lived in East Tilbury. Everyone in East Tilbury knows each other. And
I still know him
started
still,
to know
really.
them then,
Yeah.
Yeah, they're all still there pretty much. You know.
It's amazing doing this podcast, the sort of people that we've known for a little while, but are just sort of stepping forward a bit. And like even my mate who I'm meeting tomorrow is like, oh, I've had a couple of weeks off for anxiety and stuff like that. And people are just opening up about it. I got that message from Dan Brooks I sent you today. He was just literally just reaching out, saying he liked it. And I've forgotten to write the name down, but we mentioned the other day about listeners around the world and the listener in Australia, and you thought it was your mates on holiday. Someone...
No, I've got one of my oldest and best friends lives in Australia, and that's who I was talking about.
Yeah, well, we thought that was our main Australia listenership. Well, a third person messaged and went, actually, no, hello, over here. I've listened, I found you organically, and I love this podcast. Like, thank you very much for everything you're doing.
Awesome.
From Australia. Good day, mate.
It's been a weird ride really, because I found, because we were talking openly about stuff, people are then talking to me about it, and like, so most of the time, like I'm really up for the discussion, but then if I'm at a low ebb, I'm like, it can make me worse.
Yep.
Mm.
Yep.
That's been a problem. Like, yeah, there's been points I'm like, I can't cope with you as well as me, or I've seen like someone and they've listened to it, and like I saw my mate Chris in Broadstairs recently, and he was like, oh, I need to ask you lots of questions about it, because he felt funny about it. He's like, I didn't realise, and so he wanted to ask me lots of questions, and in the end I was like, I'm exhausted.
That's okay, you're allowed to do
Like, yeah, I can't keep talking about what's gone on for me.
You've got to look after yourself
First
and foremost.
Yeah, essentially, yeah. You come back to a point of I've got to look after myself, but it can be quite hard to do that, because we've pushed ourselves out there, and then it's like you have to be respectful of other people if they then want to talk to you about it because it's like, well, we've done it. You know, yes, we should be respectful, but in the same respect, you're like, sometimes you're like, fucking hell, I can't do it.
Yeah, that's fine.
I'm
Honestly, it sounds like you're beating yourself up for that.
Yeah, no, I'd beat myself up for that.
Yeah, you
but I
shouldn't.
can't get over it.
You just like turn your phone off, put it in your pocket, and then read it another time.
Yeah, no, you're totally right. I agree with you. And most of the time, that's exactly what I do. But sometimes, like,
But you can literally just say to him, like, look, I'm not in the best place myself at the moment, so I can't help you as it currently is.
Because what I've found,
I'll just tell you to fucking kill everyone.
yeah.
Kill everyone. Get on a train.
Listen to some Marilyn Manson.
Yeah. Well, I'm the worst. If I'm in a mess, I get on a train and I'm like, I want to fucking kill everyone.
Charlie Go Poster.
Yeah, I've had a lot of faults like that lately,
I do that
especially
all the
like at
time.
work. I just think, right, I could really easily just sort of tear everyone apart now. Like, what would happen if I just went, right, everyone, strap yourselves in, this is happening, and like just go completely nuts on everyone.
Almost like, get the sword out, get the samurai sword,
Yeah.
and I'm going to fucking slice every cunt up.
Mm.
You're all trapped in here, and everyone's going down.
Chainsaw, just
I know.
wearing their faces
But
and
maybe
shit.
that's because I watched far too many horror movies when I was younger.
Maybe.
You know, horror movies will fuck you up.
I
I watched too many horror
I
movies.
still watch a lot of horror movies.
I don't watch many, to be
I-
honest. They scared me enough when I was a
get
kid to
bored
stay
of
away
them,
from
though.
them.
They are more formulaic than a lot of other mediums. But then once in a while, you'll find one that's not.
Mm.
And it
It's
will
like a
be
good
one of
horror
the
movie.
best films you ever saw.
I
Have you seen-
respect the art of it all.
Yeah,
and I-
Mother was
What's
meant
that?
to be a horror movie, and it ends up being a fucking big clusterfuck of madness about the media. If you haven't seen it, I can't recommend it.
That's
enough.
not the one on Netflix at the
That's
moment, is
Iron
it? The new
Mother,
one?
isn't it?
No,
I
don't know
watched
if
that
it's-
the other night. It's sick.
Oh, good,
That's
yeah.
such a good film.
Our Mother starts off as this really creepy film, and it's all kind of creepy and a bit gothic, and then it just goes fucking Billy Bollocks.
Like
apeshit.
Kubrickian almost.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm a big Kubrick fan. Like, it's not many who touch him. It's not that clever. Kubrick's fucking.
Like, one of my favourite
Kubrick's
directors,
the day.
John Carpenter, man.
Yeah, I don't really like John Carpenter's everything I don't like about horror films. I think like slasher. I prefer the more intense horror films. Like I think the best horror film ever made is The Shining. Second is The Omen, because they're dark as fuck and they tap into something about us, whereas a slasher movie doesn't in the same
I suppose
way.
you sort of leave them where they are, because I've worked where they filmed The Shining, and there's no sort of element of it.
Oh.
It's at Elstree in London, and
I've
there's
been to Elm Street.
there's no sort of element of it there, but you can still know where the lot is, and even standing there and thinking about it it resonates with you. Like Exorcist,
weird
people
thing-
go back
Exorcist
to
is scary again because it taps into that.
That's the first
bit in
horror
us
movie I ever
that's-
saw.
that's you know, like we've all. There's a bit in us, no matter who you are, that is scared of God and scared of the devil. Because even if you weren't brought up that way, everything in
It revolves around it.
yeah.
Sort of thing. Yeah.
So Star Wars is a good example of good and bad, devil and God, and that kind of thing. And like, you can't help but be swept into it. So stuff like The Exorcist is particularly scary. The Omen's particularly scary for that. And then The Shining is almost holding up a mirror against us, going like, look how easily you can fucking go mad and kill someone. And I'm like, I could fucking do that. I could fucking do that. Just put me indoors on my own for 2 days, and I'll be there. And like that's fucking in me. And I'm like, and so I see something like that, it scares the shit out of me. And I think the best horror films do that.
they touch on real
So like the gore
emotions.
and all of that isn't that scary.
So I always liked practical effects because it's like art.
Yeah,
It is really like
Like,
that's why I
interesting,
hop back
it's fun.
to like practical effects for me. Were always just fucking just make a movie. There was a recent film called The Void, and that harked back to
I've seen The Void. What's in The Void?
they're in a hospital, and then there's like a cult with like
Yeah.
a triangle and shit.
Yeah.
I fucking loved it. It was like I was
Oh.
just like that's one of the
Yeah, no,
best
that
films
was
I've
pretty
seen.
good. That was pretty good.
Hardly any CGI in the whole film. It's just all practical effects.
The other one, if you like that, you've got to see so the two that I really fucking loved was Mother, and I can't recommend it strongly enough because at the end of it, you feel something, and a good film makes you feel something.
Yeah.
There's that Hereditary Is the other one.
I've not seen that.
Hereditary is spooky as fuck. Then at the end, it's like a cult, and you're like, fuck, and your blood run cold.
Have you
fucking brilliant?
I will check that out. Have you seen Babadook?
Yep.
What did you think of that?
It's a bad book.
Babadook.
Yeah, I thought it was a bad book, but yeah, that just I found that a bit predictable.
You know what it's about, right?
No.
So the Babadook is the mum's mental health problem. Yeah. And she thinks she can defeat it, but she can't. So she has to learn to live with it. Like, that's what the whole film's about.
What, is it a physical thing in the film?
Yeah, it's like this. It kind of looks like the jazz demon from Mighty Boosh.
Oh, yeah.
So it's kind of
like the red, glowing eyes. Is that
yeah. It's got like a top hat, like a jazz hat, I suppose. It just
Yeah.
doesn't have the polos on it.
Oh, I'll watch that again.
And yeah, he's like got long black fingers. He just comes out as like a silhouette sort of thing.
Wow.
Like the Slender Man.
Not seen Slender Man either.
Oh, it's really shit. But what I like about horror films is just normally, because they're that bit more extreme than other films. And I like extreme. Like extremes. I like to watch something and it be extreme and I come away with a fucking sense of something. I don't mind.
Otherwise,
what
you'd watch
it is.
EastEnders, wouldn't you? There's no extremes there. It's just like,
I like
No,
it.
exactly. There's not. So a horror film is fucking extreme shit. And I kind of quite liked like the early ones like Insidious and that because it was like, what the fuck's going on? And what was the one? The one with all handycams. I can't remember now.
Blair Witch. Probably.
Blair Witch. And like that is just all about you're scared of what your brain's telling you. And I really love that. So you're like afterwards you're like, oh, that was fucking shit, or you're like, fucking hell. Like that I just went on a journey. Fucking thank God for that. In my boring everyday life, I've just gone on a journey for 2 hours. And that's the best film.
I like it when because the medium is so, like you say, it's kind of like set in stone, a lot of it, and you have to have a certain amount of everything else. But when something is so different, like Blair Witch was so different.
Yeah.
But like, even, I can't explain, like, is it 28 Days Later, the zombie film? The beginning bit of that, I saw the trailer.
About Danny Boyle the other day.
But there isn't thousands of zombies just walking along in a line. It's like, something
there's nothing.
happens in a house, you hear glass break, and then a car crashes. And then you see something else in the corner. If that actually happened, 1,000 zombies wouldn't turn up outside. One would try and break in up the road, or you'd hear something like the space that was given in the film. That was almost scary because all my hairs are going up now. Because you're like, hang on, this is not right. There should be like music, or like there should be loads of stuff.
That's why Stanley Kubrick.
Yeah, it simplifies it, and that makes it scarier.
Actually going on. The scary thing is what's going on in your head.
The scariest thing in 28 Days Later is when they get to the army base.
Yeah.
And no spoilers, obviously. And the soldiers are the things they should have been fearing the entire time.
Yeah.
Because the fate for them is worse.
It's that switch. And like that, but the thing is, you're mentally like thinking, "Oh, we're safe now because you got the safety of like the army and everything else," and even in your mind as you're watching it, yeah. And then it goes, "Fuck you."
Actually, the fucking wolf in the corner of the room was humans.
Yeah,
and the
like
human
that wolf in the corner of the room.
Yeah.
That's what it actually is. And I've learned, like, really, that most problems are always your own. That you create. So the wolf in the corner of the room actually is you.
Yeah.
More often than not, it's you creating things to be scared of. You creating problems and difficulties and fear.
I kind of weigh on that in the Grum Reaper story a little bit.
Do you? It's true, though, isn't it?
Yeah.
Like that's everything. Most of your problems are just like you, the way you look at it. And I don't know what it was, but it was like last summer of that was my big meltdown. And then 5 months off of work and just doing nothing. It was like, no one else can do anything. Actually, no one else can sort this out for me. It was just that realisation, it was like, only I can do it, and the answer is in me. And that was like seeing my therapist Peter just going, yeah, it's just the way you look at it, mate. I was like,
I love the fact that you break it down so simply now. When back then it was probably like this huge thing.
Yeah.
It's your whole world.
No, but then when I figured it out, it's like, fucking hell, that's what it is.
Nobody had ever told you that before.
No, exactly. No one had ever said it. And like that's the thing. Like we've been doing this, and I remember saying to people, like, yeah, you don't have to listen to your brain. Like your brain's not in charge.
Oh, when I got my
No one ever said that.
I was 19 when I got diagnosed with BPD, and I at that point immediately thought, "Fuck, I'm crazy. That's it. There's no more hope for me." So that was when I spiraled the fuck down. Like it just kept going.
Yeah, I do understand.
And it's been on the wall seeing the dude, and I was just like, I'm not fucking crazy. Like, so I'm just emotional. Like that's generally what I see BPD as, just being emotional. And in this society, you can't be that emotional. I'll cry all the goddamn time.
No, it's true. Yeah, you can't. It's really weird because I remember like I got diagnosed last year with it.
What, BPD?
Yeah.
Hey, BPD buddy.
And they explained to me why they. So I got the diagnosis of dysphonia, which is constant depression, and then they call it double depression. So you have depression, so you're always depressed, and then when other people would be sad, I have depression twice. So
Wow.
But then they said, so you have that. And
So you're depressed, then you're kind of depressed about the fact that you're always depressed.
Yeah, then if I get, then if a normal thing that would happen to other people would make them sad, I would then have double depression, as in I can't get out of bed. So
is there the flip side to that? Like where something might make someone feel slightly happy, you're like a fucking pig in shit over the moon.
No.
Okay. That's what I
I'm
felt
still
with
just
BPD.
depressed.
Okay.
So I'm always just depressed.
Yeah.
And then sometimes I'm really fucking depressed, like gonna fucking want to die, want to kill people, depressed. And then they said, and because you've had it for so long, since I was a boy, they said you've got borderline personality disorder because of that. Because what's happened, you've grown up, and everything you think and everything you look at and everything you feel is depressed. So in that point in other people's lives, they would have started making sense of the world, and they would have seen positives, and negatives and positives, but they would have been reasonably balanced, as in they'd be able to make sense of them. But because you're such a depressed cunt, you see everything through depressive's eyes. And I was like, fucking yeah, that's true. I was like, that's totally true. Like, there's nothing, I've never heard a true, like you've just defined me in 2 diagnoses. And then I was like, oh fuck, how the fuck? And they went, oh, we're going to refer you to for psychotherapy. And the psychotherapist went, everything you do now is making it worse. So you've got to stop doing everything you're doing now. Have you got people around you who support you, because it's going to be a fucking nightmare? And I was like, I don't think I can tell anyone how much I want to die all the time, because it will scare my wife, it will scare my mum. They're the people I talk to. Yeah. So I can't tell them, because they're going to think, oh fuck, it's every other. My wife's like it. It's like every other word. She's often frightened to say things to me because she thinks it will make me want to kill myself. I'm like, it's probably true. Probably true. You're probably right. And the only way that I manage it is on a mixture of medication and fucking therapy and talking about it. And actually just fucking saying it. So now, like, I just say it like that.
Was there like shame attached with it before?
Yeah.
Like, so you'd think it and then you'd be like, oh, this is a shameful thing to feel.
Yeah,
as opposed to just, that's
so human. What happens is, when I'm feeling strong, I don't feel shame. When I'm not feeling strong, I feel shame. Because I can see the impact it has, because I've got a wife and kids who I live with. So I can see the impact of my mental health on them every day.
There's a TED Talk by Brené Brown that deals with shame and vulnerability. It's actually really good. My therapist suggested it to me 5 years ago, I think it was, maybe 4 years ago. I went home and I watched it, and I was just, whoa. And it just changed how I saw shame. Changed my relationship with shame as well, which is something she says.
Tell us what it says then.
Oh man, it's been a while since I've watched it.
We're going to run out of time. And I want to say profound.
Yeah. Shame is basically, oh my god, it's put it on the spot now, isn't it? It's because sometimes you think about something so intensely at the beginning that it changes you, so you don't think about it later on. I'm trying to think of it now.
Well, so your interpretation of it
would
would adjust and change depending on the feelings you've had around it.
Yeah, like who I am
That
now
makes sense.
is not. When I look back at my 21-year-old self, I do not recognise myself.
No,
I
yeah,
kind of
can
use the fact that I
appreciate
tried to kill myself, failed luckily, as a metaphor for killing off my old self. So it's like, that's a reset. Now, what can I become in the wake of that?
Yeah.
But it took 4 or more attempts.
So
That's
yeah,
very true. Yeah, I can totally. That resonates with me. I feel like the mess I got myself into last year was a point when I went, I know I'm not going to feel shame for it anymore. I'm going to talk about it. And I'm going to be really like
where
here,
you are now.
I'm going to be fucking honest about it, and I don't fucking care what anyone says because I know I've got.
Then that means you don't have the shame of it, right?
Yeah, no, that's true. But I do feel the shame sometimes because it's like, you know, like, oh, I'm not engaging with my kids as much as I feel like I should, or I'm being like my dad.
But so you might feel the
So
shame
then I
of
feel
not engaging
shame.
with your kids as much, right?
Yeah.
But you might be engaging with your kids more so than anybody else because of that
Yeah.
sense of shame. So it's like,
No, that's true.
it's using it as a positive
yeah,
thing.
yeah.
It's more of like a reflecting on, not necessarily in a shameful way, but like reflecting on those things and then just turning it around
Yeah.
and using it in a different direction. Not even using it, but just acknowledging it. Because we were talking about scripts
There
before,
lies
weren't
in
we?
the answer, Brad.
Yeah.
I think you say a very salient point. Acknowledge it, and when you acknowledge it, you take the power out of it, and then you can decide what to do with it.
Yeah, and you can use it as, like we said about scripts, and you could say, right, I used to feel this sort of way.
Scripts.
Yeah,
Yeah,
like
that's
you
it.
kind of
Darren
got your
Brown
own
book.
little.
I was just saying the Darren Brown book there.
Yeah,
Like the scripts we tell ourselves are normally wrong.
Yeah.
And you say it, and normally you're actually just being self-serving, or you're being self-destructive.
Mm.
Like one of the things I realised with the way I was thinking, I constantly think what I make sucks. But because I constantly think that what I make sucks, it then leads me to improve on what I'm
that's
making.
a really good way of looking at it.
But it constantly happens. So I'll do a painting and I'm like, that's amazing. Then I'll look back at it a week later, I'm like, fuck, that sucks. And then I'll do another painting and it just spirals
Yeah,
and
it's the
spirals.
same with music, but it keeps that creative drive going. It's like
Because
maybe
imagine
it's,
you wrote a piece of shit or made a piece of shit and then you're like, that's the best thing in the world.
Yeah.
And it's just like, no.
yeah,
It's the worst thing I've ever heard.
yeah,
You need that
There's
critical
something
like
taste.
freeing
self-reflection.
about saying, "No, this shit, it don't actually matter."
Yeah.
mm.
Like I've got much more comfortable being creative over the last year, just by going, "Thanks, mate." It just don't
Your
Because you gotta
artwork
enjoy
taught me
it.
a lot about that. Like when I used to draw and stuff, I would be so worried about staying in the lines, straight edges, geometric shapes and stuff like that. And when I first saw your artwork, and I'll include you in this as well, Brad, 'cause I like the loose lines and the curves and everything that you use. But like it's
Nick's eyes.
it like really like it bothered me. Like it's not straight and it's scribbled, and I can see you've missed bits out, and like it really got to me. And I was like, why can't I be that free to be able to go, right, this I've drawn this has come out of my head and I'm putting this online. I was like, fucking hell, it's beautiful. Like that, the power of that to be able to just do that. Like it's an amazing thing.
It is strange though, because I did kind of go for a period of going, "Oh fuck it," like I'm going to do that deliberately.
Yeah.
I don't fucking care, because actually, who's this for? It's not for anyone else. It's just for me. I found tattooing really, really loosened my art, because you know, like tattoos, there'll be like perspective, like in traditional tattoos, perspective. Like, what does that fucking matter?
Yeah.
It don't matter, but like solid lines. And then I was like, well, what happens if I just fucking like, I just go over it and then I just make it into a pattern? Who fucking cares?
Yeah.
Yeah, it don't fucking matter.
No.
I'm only doing it for me. And if I'm just like doing a pattern for an hour tonight, so fucking what?
Yeah.
Alan Watts says it's doing art, whether it's music, whether it's writing, whether it's culinary arts, whether it's drawing, whether it's painting, it's about the doing of it that counts.
Yeah.
Because if you use dancing, you don't dance for an outcome. You just dance because
That's
you're
an
doing
amazing
It's
way of
about-
looking at it.
It's
And
about
that's
the journey.
creativity. Yeah.
Johnny Marr say it all the time. he quoted Picasso and saying there is such thing as genius, but the genius has to find you doing.
I see that one yesterday, man. It's the first time I've ever seen it, but yeah, no, it's poignant.
So if you're not
Proper
doing
poignant.
it, then nothing's going to happen. And that kind of got into my head. So I'm like, I just draw all the time. And like sometimes I'll do an A3 pad and I'm like, I don't like anything in there. And that fucking really churns me up. But I'm like, what fucking matters?
That's it, mate.
Well, where's it going to go? It's just going to go in a fucking bag somewhere. My wife's going to put it in a bag. And it's just going to...
No, some people probably want to buy it, man.
But you know what? Like that just gives weight to it. I don't want weight. I just want to just go, what the fuck? Anyway.
That's an hour.
Yeah.
That's an hour.
That's gone so quick. Crazy quick.
And that is it. We didn't even get into much of the mental.
No, I feel like we just...
But I feel like...
Started out with gory penis.
Yeah.
I know. But I feel like we got... What I do like is that I do think we got in some really good... Like we said some really interesting things.
Yeah.
That I think people could get something from. And we didn't really need to get into our stories. And I kind of think that's more important.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like that.
Our stories are our stories, you know. And if you say them sometimes, you give them too much weight.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So really, it's the conversation is the important thing.
Definitely.
Thank you, TV Land.
Podcast land.
Thank you, TV Land, you motherfuckers. Mouth for manliness. The wrong way round.
And thanks, Brad, for coming on.
So,
Thank you to Brad
It's been
Humble.
so cool.
Yeah,
Feel
really
like
enjoyed it. It's been really good fun.
new
We've
friends.
got to remember to get a photo.
Oh yeah, because we forgot to get photos
Yeah.
before, and I've had to up my Photoshop skills. But we're not going to do that this time. We're going to take
slicing people in.
proper.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know. Wait till I show you. That's terrible.
Well, that's it.
That's it. Thank you
Sweet.
for everyone for listening. Much love.
Heads on.
Thanks,
Yeah.
Brad. See ya.
Take care. Bye.